What is going on, everyone? AP over here, Rum Beer Sports, bringing to you once again. We got the PGA DFS and Bet Show. I'm here with my two guys. We got Uncle T. We got Snyder. Uncle T, battling through some tornadoes out there in northern Kentucky, not Cincinnati. Northern Kentucky, right? Got very mad at me, driving me home a couple weeks ago when I called it Cincinnati. What's going on, my man?
You're the one that should be mad. I drove you to the wrong damn hotel. So,
I mean,
I took you to the wrong hotel.
Why would I be mad? It's a free ride. I mean, you spent another like 20 minutes in your car. I felt bad. I felt real bad.
That's a terrible Uber driver you had that night. But no, it's been a crazy 2 days with the weather here. But I think we avoided most of the really heavy stuff. Was a little bit more north of where I'm at. So. Good thing is we got the internet up and running here. It was out for most of the day. So looking forward to this week, but even more so, obviously the week before major, I know all three of us are, already gearing up, looking at next week a little bit. At least I am. And, we got to look at this week as well, maybe make some money this week and then, and then really dial in for the Masters next week. But looking forward to the next couple weeks of golf.
Yeah, and it's not any major. I mean, it's the Masters. Obviously, that's next week. So all of us very excited. We got the Valero Texas Open this week. Nice field. A lot of good options. It's going to be interesting breaking it down with you guys. Snyder, what's going on, my man? I saw the Generals were out earlier. Soldiers drop tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, the Soldiers will be out tomorrow morning. We got the Generals out this morning. I'm looking forward to this event. Actually, I feel pretty confident about this event. I like the field. I like the pricing. I think everything's going to fit in well. And hopefully I can grab a bunch of tickets into next week's contest. I'm registered for a bunch of in the satellites trying to scoop up a bunch of tickets for next week. We'll see how it goes.
We got Richie Smalls in chat. We got Kevin. What's going on, our guys? Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Let's just cut to the chase. I mean, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to break down. Snyder, I'm not going to forget about it this time. Almost forgot about it last time. We need the course breakdown at the Valero this week. What do you got for us?
We remain here in Texas for a Masters tune-up here at the Oaks course at TPC San Antonio. This par 72 is going to measure 7,438 yards. It's going to feature 3 holes with water in play. Golfers are going to see average size greens here, around 6,400 square feet on average. These greens have some of the toughest. These greens have been some of the toughest ones to hit on tour. These greens are kind of raised up. They have some undulations. They have closely mown runoff areas. So golfers are going to need to put an emphasis on finding the fairways this week, as trouble lurks away from the fairway as well. These fairways are going to have an average width of 26 to 29 yards on average. The rough's going to be some fescue rough here. It's going to measure right around 2.25 inches long. This is a ball striker's paradise. So where course history has often prevailed here, we must find the golfers that have strong tee to green games with the ability to scramble if they miss some of these tougher greens. These greens were only hit at a 61% clip last year, with driving accuracy being sub 50% as well. So it's kind of interesting diving in. Some of the key stats we're looking at: strokes gained approach around the green with an emphasis on scrambling, good drives gained, opportunities gained, and then par 5 scoring.
All right, a couple things. We got our boy Jason Graham in here. An ace at Firethorn number 4. Now, again, I've been inside most of the day, but when I was letting the dog out earlier, when I was taking the kids to school, it's pretty windy. It was pretty windy, always is in April. And, in the springtime here in Nebraska, not a lot of protection from the wind, especially on number 4. So number 4, Jason, I don't know if you're in chat right now, but I'd be curious to see what tees you're playing. It could be anywhere from 130 to what, Snyder, 180 yards, unless he's playing the Thorns.
Yeah, on the back tees, it's right at 200 from way back there. But I think there was less than 20 people on the course today, so it'd be interesting to see if he was actually out there.
Jason probably hit a lob wedge in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a tricky hole. It is a tricky hole. You got shit to the left. You got a little bit of like water right there to the right, and Pete Dye just messes with your eyes on that hole. So nice ace. Jason. I mean, really, really impressive. Snyder. So I'm curious. I was reading some stuff on Twitter. I was doing my due diligence, obviously, for this week. And I saw a certain tweet and someone talking about this course, and it reminded me maybe of something that you said last year. Is this the place where I don't want to say touted, but you were talking about distance from the edge of the fairway? And look at that golf. Are we at that track? Is this the distance from the edge of the fairway track?
This is the place, and people were kind of giving me some guff, but yeah, this is
I saw it yesterday on Twitter, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, let's go!" We are so back. We are so back. I don't even know what they're talking about from that distance from the edge of the fairway. Snyder, what are we looking at there?
Yeah, Rick Rundgren keeps this stat. It's just basically if you miss the fairway, it's how far do you miss it by. If you don't miss it by much, that's a lot better at this place. But you definitely don't want to miss big off the tee here.
And it wasn't Rick that I saw from. Literally just scrolling Twitter. I can't remember where. And not a knock to anyone at all. I just, that's like when we're like cherry picking some very, very specific stats. I got a good laugh at that.
I'm glad they don't measure our distance from the fairway off the tee. They won't have a tape measure long enough.
You don't need one with me.
Uncle T, you'll be seeing here pretty soon, but I mean that's definitely an area in my game that I've improved. It feels pretty good. A little consistency, not a lot of length, but a little consistency.
Nice easy backswing, nice easy follow.
Big easy. The big easy is how you do it. Nice, easy, smooth.
Snyder just gets up there and just rips it.
Oh, yeah.
Snyder just grips it, rips it, fires it away. Let's get into it, though, guys. We have an interesting top range starting, 10K all the way up to 12-3. Colin Morikawa, Snyder, your boy. Ludvig Åberg. Hideki, Rory. 10-1 is Colin. Rory, 12-3. What are we doing this week? I'm going to start with you, Snyder. I'm curious. Are you on your boy Colin Morikawa? What are you doing with the 10K and up range?
It's kind of interesting up here. You got Rory up above everybody else at 1,700 more than Hideki there. I was looking at Rory a little bit because he's been known to win some events back in the previous past. It's been a few years since he's won on U.S. soil, I think. It's been a couple of years, but yeah, he's done it before where he wins before these majors and such. But he had a secret meeting or something with Butch Harmon. I was listening to a podcast earlier today. They talked about him meeting with Butch Harmon to try and figure out his irons. He's been having some misses with some irons. It's kind of a little troubling. Kind of throws up some red flags there as he's trying to search with the irons this close to the Masters. It kind of worries me how much he's going to be trying to win this event or how much he's going to be trying to work through his irons here with some of the lessons that he took there, some of the knowledge that he got from Butch. You could definitely nuke this field. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I think I'm going to be off Rory this week. Just save the salary, drop down. I'm gonna play some Hideki this week. I think I can fit him in. I think I'm gonna go Hideki and Ludvig as my top two guys in this top two range. It's a good spot for Hideki. He's got the strong tee to green game. Doesn't really need to be a good putter here, as bad putters have done well here. He's back-to-back great starts in Florida, and he's has a run for second green jacket next week. And I was kind of interested to see in the matchup markets. I was surprised to see him such a big favorite, but he's a -140 favorite over my guy Morikawa, who has just been absolutely struggling. It's the first time in his career that Morikawa's lost strokes approach in 3 of his last 4 events. I'm kind of worried about him a little bit. I think I always play him at around 10 to 15% just out of respect for what he's done in the past for me, but not going to be too high on Morikawa. I do love Ludvig this week, though. He was the 5-star general this week. I think his game should set up really well for this track. He ranks first in strokes gained total over the last 36 rounds in this field. He was 8th in the players in his last event. I love his chances to kind of piece up this track and be in contention come Sunday. So I'm high on Ludvig. I'm going to have some Hideki as well, and probably just a sprinkle of Morikawa out of respect, I think.
One last question for you, real quick, Snyder. You study ownerships. You're very good with that, much better than me. What do you see for these four guys? Like, where do you see ownership falling? Because, like, at first glance, I'm like, in my mind, it's like, are people really going to play Rory? They look at the price tag and they're like, tune up for a major. Let's pass on Rory. And I feel like everything's going to consolidate onto Ludwig. Everyone's stroking him, profiles very well. It just seems like ownership has to like consolidate right on him. But what's your read on ownership in this top range?
Yeah, early on, it's Rory slightly ahead of Hideki and Ludwig. They're all within like 25 to 30%. I think it's gonna be pretty spread out between the three up top. But in the betting outright markets over at Pinnacle, Rory's plus 994, and then Ludwig's plus 1261. With those two are a big amount of favorites over Hideki, who's plus 23.95. So I think Ludwig's my favorite, and then I'm just gonna side with Hideki, I think.
All right, very good, Uncle T. Let's get over to you. Same question, 10K and up range. Morikawa all the way up to Rory. What are you doing with this range this week?
Yeah, similar thoughts that Snyder had. I do think Morikawa, ownership-wise, I think he will come in much lower than the other three, in my opinion, for sure. I don't think it'll he may even carry half the ownership, those other three. We'll see how it plays out. And I think the betting markets even show that 25-1 on DK Sportsbook that I looked about an hour ago on Morikawa. If you would have taken Morikawa at 10-1 and the fourth highest price guy in this field maybe a year ago when he's playing better, there's no chance you're getting him at 25-1, right? And clearly it's because he comes in and not as good a form. I mean, he could probably be 10, 12, 14-1 in this tournament in the past in a similar setup. So I'm going to be out on Morikawa. All that being said, I do think he's playing this week, and I'll talk about a couple other guys as we get through these next couple ranges. I think a couple of these guys are playing. I'm not saying they're not playing to win this week, but I do think they're playing to get tuned up a little bit, maybe to work on something. I think Snyder said maybe, he's got to try to find some part of his game here going into next week. And next week you get him, not to jump ahead, but I think he's in the low 8Ks next week. So you're going to get him at 10-1 this week. I don't like him this week, but next week, you're going to get about a $1,700 price decrease on Morikawa next week at the Masters. So if you decide to play him there, but out on Morikawa, I'm going to be out on Rory as well. I just think at 12-3, I mean, he really has. I don't think he has any top 10s. No, he doesn't. He won in Dubai in January, and he doesn't have any top 15s in the 5 starts. So again, at 12-3, I think there was something out on the Golf Channel last night that said, he's won 3 tournaments playing the week before a major in his career. I don't know that there's anything really relative to that other than, maybe the strength of the fields those weeks. So I'm not really going to put a ton into that. So I'm going to be out on him. I'm going to be out on Hideki too. I just think it's just too high a price tag to pay for Hideki. He does line up really well for this course. T12 at Bay Hill and T6 at the Players, his last 2 starts, which, again, you talk about a guy coming in the opposite form of Morikawa. Hideki's been playing really good. But for me, I'm going to put all my eggs in the Obear bucket here if I'm going up top. 10-5. He's 12-1 to win the golf tournament. He's rested since that T8 at the Players. 5 straight top 25s. I mean, the list goes on and on for our boy Ludwig. And again, I'm not breaking any news here. This guy can play. He's going to end up being one of my favorite guys here as we get through the season. This guy's just really good. His game feels like it lines up pretty much everywhere for the most part. And I like guys like that. Young guy hits it far. Likable guys. So for me up top, I'm going to make it simple. I got 3 fades up here, and I'm going to play some Ludwig at 10-5.
Yeah. I mean, just talking about Ludwig, I mean, yeah, the game, what I think his game sets up pretty nicely for Augusta. When you just talk about a guy who can bomb it, can putt, can chip. I mean, absolutely seems like a guy that, in my opinion, I think I got a little different take than a lot of people out there. At least seems like everyone's really likes this guy this week. And I do feel that ownership kind of consolidates, or people feel the need to anchor their lineups with one of these 4 in this top range. And I'm not convinced you need to. I'm very tempted to fade this whole top range And here's my reasons. Hideki's like the one guy that I could just see coming out and winning because he's been playing so good. Morikawa, no, something's off. Rory, obviously working on something, and it's just a price thing. Like, I like these guys in the 9K range. I like a lot of these guys in the 9K range. If I play Rory, I'm limited to maybe one, if that. I mean, we saw it last week, obviously, with the price of Scotty. It really limits what you can do with your roster construction. And then Ludwig. Everyone's talking about Ludwig, and again, I don't want to talk anyone off of him, but if I'm Ludwig, I mean, I'm looking at how are you not looking at next week? I mean, how are you not looking at the Masters? His first Masters, right? His first major, and it's the Masters. His game sets up well. Like, how are you not like a kid, just like excited to get there and just going through the motions this week? Now, the guy is like a Swedish robot, and I mean, like, he probably comes out and just nukes. I'm just not convinced. I really like this 9K range. My lean right now again, it's Tuesday, and there's a lot of time and a lot of things that could happen, but my lean right now is fading this entire top range, mainly because of the options that I have down here in the 9K range. Many of guys that I think are going to be motivated, have really good history here, and just really fit the mold. So that's my lean right now. I'm likely fading Rory, Hideki, Ludwig, and Colin Morikawa, and starting in the 9K range. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Helps us out a lot. If you want to sign up, RPS 15% off your first payment over here at Rumpier Sports. Uncle T, I'm going to stick with you. 9K range. We have Max Homa at the top of this range, and our boy, Benny On, down at the bottom, a flat 9K. What are you doing with the 9Ks this week?
Yeah, you're going to like Ludwig next week, AP, 9,100 next week. I know I'm kind of sneaking around here a little bit because I'm already looking ahead a little bit, but you're going to love him next week.
I mean, that's exactly what Ludwig's doing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
man, how are you not looking ahead? We're all looking ahead. I think he's looking ahead. So that's my reason for fading.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I may be on him back-to-back weeks. We'll see how this week goes. But the 9K range, I do agree with you. Again, I'm only going to play Ludwig up above the 10K. The 9K range brings up some really good players, obviously. You're still going to have some ownership guys in here. Obviously, Corey Connors, me and Snyder and AP, we're going to be able to say the same things about him. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Two-time champ. He's got a T14 in there. He's going to carry quite a bit of ownership. So you got to kind of figure out how you want to, if you go with the Obear and Connors or any of them guys up top with Connors, you're going to need a lot of ownership. So it's going to be kind of how you want to start your teams. I like Connors quite a bit. I think if you wanted to try to pick a hole in Connors this week, the putter hasn't been exactly, real good lately, and his around the green game hasn't been great, but I can't talk anybody off of him. I mean, he loves this track. I could easily see him contending again. It's just a matter of how you want to play the ownership game and how you want to start and build your team. So I'm definitely going to have some Connors. Up top with Homa, I think I'm going to fade Homa. I think he could be one of those guys that, again, might be trying to find something a little bit this week. He's only played here one time, finished T42. T8 at the API, and then, way near the bottom of the field at the Players. A little bit of an up and down stretch for him, but 9,900, I'd rather, again, get up to Obear or maybe go down to these next couple guys, which is, Matt Fitzpatrick. He hasn't played here yet, but I always like playing him on tougher courses. He's coming off a T5 at the Players. I don't typically play him a ton, but when I do play him, it feels like it's always at a tougher track. This is going to be kind of a tougher setup this week. I like Matt Fitzpatrick. I know you guys are both going to be off my guy Spieth, but I'm going to have to try to have some Spieth here. 9,500. He's 20-1 to win the golf tournament. He is coming off a couple missed cuts. You could obviously say he's trying to, maybe find something this week as well, but he is a past champ in 2021, won here. I like him a little bit. My two favorite guys will probably be Fitzpatrick 1 and Connors 2. Now, to get to the last two guys, Tommy Fleetwood, I'm going to be out, I think, on Tommy as well. I read I watched a clip on him where this is the first time he's ever played the week before the Masters. And he basically said that he's trying to find something in his game to get ready for next week. So, again, that doesn't necessarily mean when we say that these guys aren't going to play well. It's just, if they catch fire on Thursday and, get hot with things, yeah, they're going to crush. So, but I'm out on Fleetwood, and I don't have really a huge take on Benny On other than he sets up clearly pretty good here. He's got a miscut in between a couple top tens. 9K is just a little bit too pricey for me because I'd rather go up a little bit and get Connors, Spieth, or Fitzpatrick, or go down below with some guys that we're going to talk about here in a minute.
I'll take Benny On versus Spieth straight up. A little lunch bet. I'll slide in. Snap call or what?
Wait, what are the lunch bets? Are they 50 or 100?
I mean, it's whatever you want.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll take Spieth over.
Like Mangone does 25. I've always done.
He does 50 because I lost 2 to him, and I sent him 50 both times.
Actually, Mangone owes me some cheese. I beat him in a lunch bet, so I gotta send him a message.
Let's keep it at 50.
Whatever you want.
All right, $50.
Yeah, I love Benny On this week, so I just think, man, he's look at his history here too. I mean, Benny On is an easy play. I don't even really. That's the thing about fading the top range. Like it's so easy to click like Corey Connors, and the other thing too is I disagree completely with these ownership projections. There's no way Rory can be 30 and Hideki can be like 27, and then Corey Connors 30. Like ownership has to spread out a little bit more than that. All of these guys can't be 25 to 30% owned. So I do disagree a little bit with ownership this week, and I feel like if those top guys do get ownership, that it has to leave the 9K range somewhat under-owned relative to what I'm seeing. But Snyder,
Benny might miss the cut.
No.
He misses the cut, it's double, right? If either one of them miss the cut, is it double?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
And Snyder,
all right.
You taking meeting notes?
I got you.
Yeah. There we go.
I haven't sent AP any money in a while.
I don't have my yellow notepad, so there is a high probability that I would have completely forgotten about this wager. So I like to call it there, Uncle T. But Snyder, 9K range. What are you doing with these guys? Benny On all the way up to Max Homa? Yeah, 9.9.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be quite a bit different than you guys, actually. As far as the ownership, like you were saying, I think it's going to be Connors, Oberg, Hideki, and Rory all maybe around 25%. And then everybody else is going to be kind of pooled in like maybe 13 to 18% range or something like that for the rest of these 9K guys. I'm just going to get a considerably well overweight on Corey Connors this week. He's another general this week. I think he's way underpriced here at 9.4. He's looking at his recent form. His course history here is incredible. He won this event last year, then won it again in 2019, T14 in 2021 as well. I mean, I think it's just an awesome smash play here with Connors. Has hit 75% of his greens in regulation as well over the last 36 rounds, and his top 10 in tee to green in this field. So I'm just going to smash Connors in there. I'm not going to play Homa, bad form. I'm not going to play Fitzpatrick. I don't really like him here. I think Connors can beat him straight up. I'm just going to hitch my wagon to just getting overweight, considerably overweight on the 3 higher owned guys here. I'm going to play Connors. I'm going to play Ludwig. I'm going to play Hideki and just get considerably overweight on like 2, 3, 4x the field on them. And then kind of mix in the guys below him there. I would play a little bit of Benny On. I think I may mix him in some. He's another guy that'll probably be somewhere around like 14 to 17% owned, somewhere around there, I think. Won't be too hard to mash the field or slightly get overweight, but Connors is definitely my favorite play in this 9K range. And then I can't play Spieth off 2 missed cuts. He's a guy I just worry about. I think he's kind of locked in for the Masters. He's kind of missed a couple cuts. Needs to get everything going good going into next week, where he really wants to peak every year since he won the Masters. I feel like he's always trying to peak heading into there if all possible. So Fleetwood, I'm not going to play him. 9.2, not the best form either. I actually don't really like this 9K range, which is different than you guys, which is good because you got to get a little bit different there. But Connors, Ludwig, and Hideki are going to be the 3 building blocks for me, 9K and up.
Yeah, and what I meant by, really liking the 9K range is mainly like three guys. One of them being Corey Connors. I'm locked arm in arm with Corey Connors with you. I mean, I'm going to play him this weekend, next week. Connors is just that guy that, he's just so safe. Like, his history here is incredible, is in great form. I can overlook the putting just because of the success that he's had here. 2 wins, multiple top 10s. I mean, Corey Connors just feels like an absolute lock, or at least a guy that you get at like 70%. The other guy that I like that I think is a little bit different than both of you is Matt Fitzpatrick. Not a guy that I've played a ton, but
he was my top guy, AP.
Oh, yeah. I got Snyder's voice, in my head. Doesn't like. Again, I usually don't like him either. Ever since he ditched the braces, it's been a struggle. But he looked good at the Players. He looked really good. He, was hitting the ball very well. 4.7 strokes, gained off the tee. Tee to green was awesome. And the putter, man, when this guy's putter gets hot, I typically like to play him. So Matt Fitzpatrick is kind of like that starting range for me, then followed by Corey Connors and then Benny On. I just think Benny On, 4 or 5 cuts made over the last 5 events. He's made 3 of 4 cuts here with 2 top 10s. And this is Benny On's track, man. Good off the tee. Great driver distance. If he gets that approach game dialed in, he's going to be right up there at the end. So I have a ton of interest in Benny On. I think he could win. I really look at some of the past winners here. Just going back to when JJ Spawn won, you see these like random guys pop up. Andrew Landry, Kevin Chappell back in the day. When you think about those type of guys in their games, why can't it be Benny On? I think it's Benny On's time. I think he gets a win this year on the PGA Tour for sure. I don't think Tommy Fleetwood does. I think it's going to be another year. Maybe he goes winless. But Benny On's going to get it done. And I could be wrong there. Does he have a PGA Tour win? Do you guys know Benny On? I should know this as a massive Benny On state. So. I don't think so either. Chat can tell me if I'm wrong.
He won't have one after this week either. But
yeah,
I hate rooting against AP too.
No, it's all right. You can root against me all the time.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, that is fair. Yeah, we're definitely not on the Corn Ferry. This range, like, all right. So my last question, Snyder, back to you. What's Max Homa can't get any ownership, right? Like, what's he coming in at? Like, what donkey is playing Max Homa?
Saying about 12.
I think he's going to be in that 13 to 17% range.
He's been terrible, man.
The optimizer, like the MME guys with the optimizers, I think it's just going to kind of jam in these 9K guys at right around 12 to 15 to 17%. I think they're all going to be in that 12 to 17% range.
Yeah, I make fun of him now, and he'll probably own me, but I couldn't imagine playing Max Homa.
No, I'm not.
He'll probably own me. I'm sure he will, but I just think his game is off right now, or at least it looked really bad at the Players. I know he had he was good at the Genesis or whatever, but that's his game on the West Coast. He's always had a lot of success on the West Coast. So for me, this range is easy. It's Matt Fitzpatrick, but mainly Corey Connors and Benny On. Absolutely love those two guys. Snyder, I'm going to keep with you. AK range, Billy Horschel, who is playing very well right now, all the way down to Ricky Fowler, who is not playing very well right now. What are you doing with this AK range, Snyder?
Yeah, I played 3 guys, 9K and up, maybe 4, I guess. But I do like some of these guys in this 8K range. So Billy Horschel is a guy I'm just going to keep going back to. I played him last week. It just seems like he's got his game in the right direction. 3 out of the 4 top 12s are better. He missed the cut at the Players, but I'll give anybody a pass on missing the cut at the Players. Looks like the ownership's kind of going to be spread out here as well, too. He'll probably be pretty similar to what those 9K guys were, maybe closer to that 17, 18% than the 12% for sure. But I don't have no problem getting overweight on him. He needs a win here, too, if he wants to play next week in the Masters. I just think he's a great option here this week. I look at his recent form; it's very good. He's hitting greens at 73% over the last 36 rounds as well. So I'm in on Billy Horschel. I think he's a great play. I know his betting odds are getting steamed down as the week goes. He was like at 50 to 1, I think, at opening, and he's down somewhere around 30 to 35 or 35 to 1, I think, right now. But in on Horschel. Alex Noren's another guy I'm just going to keep playing. Ranks third in strokes gained total and greens regulation over the last 36 rounds, coming in with great form. T9 at the Cognizant, T19 at the Players, and he was T11 last week at Houston, and he was T15 here last year at this event. Doesn't hit the ball too far off the tee, but we've seen some of these short hitters do really well here. He's going to find the fairway at a high clip, which is big here, so I like Noren. And then English.
What's his average distance from the fairway? Do you know?
I can find it.
No, I can find it. I'm joking, Snyder. I'm joking. I don't give a shit about that. Come on.
I got it.
I do like Alex Noren though. No, don't tell me. I don't want to know that. I don't want it to like mess up my my mojo with
he ranks
Alex
14th in average distance from the fairway at 21 feet.
They actually have a ranking for this. Oh, I'm dying.
Oh yeah. But then I think Harris English and Russell Henley are pretty much the same play. I know Henley's favored over English in the betting markets. They opened up at -110, and Henley's now sitting as a -130 favored over English. But both of these guys are great options. I think pretty close to similar options here. I think they're going to be. I actually think Henley's going to be the kind of gets squeezed here. I see him like right around that 10 to 13% range, and Harris English is more closer to that 15 to 17% range. I think both are great options. Love both guys. I think they can both do really well on this and are great values here at the bottom of this 8K range. So in on Henley, English, Noren, and Billy Ho in this 8K range the most.
No Ricky Fowler?
Who?
I mean, look at his record here.
I got a stat
T10,
here.
T17, T17.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's not even your bet. Come on, Snyder. Uncle T. 8K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, no Ricky Fowler for me. I'll start down there.
I know he sucks. None for me too. I just got to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, the course history obviously stares at us, right? But and I'm going to pick a couple guys. I'm going to grab a couple guys down in that 6K range and even into the 5K range later that I don't mind grabbing some course history guys down there that are really cheap. I'm not paying 8K for Ricky Fowler when he's in awful form and he's 100 to 1, which sticks out like a sore thumb in this 8K range. It's more than double the odds of the next guy in this range. So just the way I play, there's no way I can play him. I'll start at the bottom and work my way up now that I'm down there. Tom Kim, I think he's another guy that's completely lost right now. Doesn't have any feel for his game at all right now. And honestly, Fowler and Kim should probably be in the mid 7K range and Fowler even further down. It just feels like they're just too
Uncle T, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Since Ricky's win, and hopefully you don't look, what's his best finish, not including the Tour Championship? That doesn't count.
25th.
Damn, that's close. Very close. 23rd at the
23rd.
Open Championship, which was when he was in prime form. Outside of that, he's been horrendous. This dude it's like he got that win, and then he just reverted back to exactly what we know he is. I mean, absolutely insane.
He might be getting too much bench time. I mean, he might need to get back out on the course instead of on the bench.
I know. You watched the what was it, Full Swing? Whew, man.
I mean, I'm not mad at him. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't help his golf.
I'm not mad at him either. I'm definitely keep going though. Keep going.
Yeah, but the bottom range I don't like at all. Tom Kim, Ricky Fowler, easy fades. Snyder, interesting thing about your matchup, and I see the matchup that you're talking about. Henley's now Henley's now a little bit of a favorite over English. The betting market to outright, English 35 to 1 and Henley 45 to 1 still on DK. I'm looking right at it. So even though the matchup looks like it's going that way, the odds have not, right? So I do like both of them. I think if you want a nice safe play in the mid to low 8K range, I don't think there's any problem with English or Henley. I do think Henley will be the lower owned of the two guys for sure. Both of them playing some really good golf this year, and like Snyder said, they're basically the same play in a lot of cases, in a lot of senses as far as what we're doing. But I like them okay. Adam Scott, I'm going to maybe wait, see what he is next week. Maybe we'll put him in as a value guide next week at the Masters. Brian Harmon, always have some interest in our boy, B. Harmon. T2 at the Players, and then a miscut at the Valspar. Maybe a little flop lag here. You're not going to see a ton of ownership on him. The guys that you're going to see ownership on are Horschel and Noren. I like both of them quite a bit. Horschel, I've been on the last 2 weeks, and he's been trending for quite a while. He had his game, late last year, early this year, wasn't in great shape, and he's found something. And I'm going to ride the hot hand. 8,900 still in this field feels like it's a little high for Horschel from what we were paying a month and a half ago for him. But I think he's earned that $8,900 price tag. So I like Horschel. And then Alex Noren is the guy, AP. You talked about Benny on maybe in line for a win. I think Noren could be another guy in that category that he could sneak up and win one of these kind of tournaments here where, again, a little bit lesser field clearly, and he's been playing some good golf. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he's in the hunt on Sunday. So I like more of the top part of this range. And not as much the bottom half with Kim and Fowler.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And part of when I was talking about like the 9K range that I really liked, I mean, I kind of thought Billy Ho and Alex Noren, I mean, they're at the top part of the 8K range. So like I'm kind of including them into that 9K grouping that I really like. I mean, I'm going to keep it really short and simple here. I want all the Billy Ho I can get, and I want all the Alex Noren I can get. I know I'm eating some chalk, but when I'm looking at these ownership projections, like all of these guys can't be owned if the top range is getting that ownership. If Roar's getting 28, if Ludwig's getting 27, 28, like you can't play all of those guys. So for me, by Xing the 10K and up range out, actually 9.9K and up range out, I am able to get overweight starting like with Connors or Fitzpatrick and then getting Billy Horschel and getting Alex Noren. Like when you get multiple of those guys into your lineups, it looks pretty good versus like a Rory, and then you got to punt with like 2 or 3 random dudes. So I really like the more of the balanced construction this week, levering the top range or emphasizing the top range and including Billy Ho and Alex Noren in there. I mean, I can't play Adam Scott here. We can consider him maybe next week. Tom Kim, just, man, the form is so bad. Again, if you're the ultimate contrarian, if you want to get different, sprinkle some Tom Kim in. I mean, he's won on tour multiple times. Sprinkle Ricky in. Something's lost in those guys' games. Like when you just watch them play, and especially Ricky too. So there's just zero chance that I could click either of those two names. So for me, it's going to be simple in this range. Billy Ho and Alex Noren. Uncle T, I'm going to keep it with you. 7K range, a lot of really good options, I think, down here too. A lot of guys that I think could easily be priced in the 8K, maybe 9K range. But what are you doing with the 7Ks?
100%. A couple of these guys are underpriced. Again, relative, I think they could take the place of a couple of those 8K guys that we just talked about. One thing, too, to mention, we got 17 guys this week in the 7K range. Next week, we do go back at the Masters. The pricing will go back to the low guys will be 6K. So it's a little bit something to note that we'll talk about more, obviously, next week. But for this week, Christian Bezuidenhout, I like him quite a bit here. He's going to, again, he'll carry probably a little bit of ownership, maybe 15 to 18% up here at the high 7K range. He's 45-1 to win the golf tournament. Elite ball striker. He's really good in this field on approach. He's one of the top guys in approach. I like guys with the good approach game this week. I think you're going to need it here. He's off 2 really good finishes as well. T9 at the Valspar, and then a nice solid T13 at the Players. So I really like the Bezuidenhout here at 7,900. And then you got a couple guys that, again, I feel got a little bit of a price increase in Aaron Wright and Akshay Bhatia, but they've earned it. They've played pretty solidly the last 2, 3, 4 times they've played. And I think that's, they're getting a little bit of the price increase here. I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to have of these two, but I do like both of them. I do like riding a hot hand, like we talked about with Horschel. I like these two guys. I just don't know how much I'm going to grab of these two guys just based off of what I like above them. And then below here, I like Eric Cole quite a bit. I think Eric Cole, and I feel like I'm the Eric Cole whisperer recently because he hasn't been playing that great. A T33, a miscut, T21 and then a miscut, the last 4 times he's played. But 45-1 to win the golf tournament. I don't know. I haven't heard a whole lot about him this week. He'll be under 10%, so I kind of like Eric Cole a little bit. Going down, Mav McNeely is, I think, a little bit underpriced. I think he could be in the high 7K range here. 7,400 feels like a pretty good value play for a guy that is coming off the injury last year, and he's played really solid golf all year long. So a really good value play in Mav McNeely, a little plug and play really for a guy that's going to carry 10, 11, 12% ownership. I like that. Lucas Glover, our boy the Glove, another good value piece. T11 last time out, or coming off at T11, real good course history here, 7,300. I don't mind him. Our boy Andrew Putnam, as Big T calls him, I like him a little bit down here in this range. And then Victor Perez, I think he's actually might be either the top guy on approach or one of the top guys in approach in this field over the last 36 rounds. So I like a little Victor Perez down at the bottom half. So some good plug and plays and some filler pieces for me here in this 7K range this week.
Yeah, very good. I'm going to be on a few of those guys as well. Got my guy Nice Cards, Ben Wogan. Shout out to you, my man. We got to get back to the MLB Live Final. This dude can crush some drinks. Can absolutely crush some drinks. I know it because I was stumbling out of that Live Final when I was there. So it was a good time. And I think he was too. But Snyder, what are you doing with the 7K range this week?
Yeah, there's quite a few guys I like in this range. I only played about 8 guys, I think, or so. 8 guys in the 8K and up range. So I'm going to mix in a lot of these guys in the 7K range to kind of fill the pool out. Bezaid Hood is going to be in the pool. Aaron Rye. I have quite a bit of conviction on Aaron Rye. Was a guy I was high on last week. Now we're getting a discount on him as he's in the 7K range. He was in the 8K range last week. Holds a pair of top 30s in his last 2 trips here. And enters with solid form. He was T7 last week, T35 at the Players, and then T23 at the Puerto Rico. Ranks second in accuracy and third in tee to green over the last 36 rounds for this field. Isn't the best putter, but that's fine around here. 73% of greens regulation. Rank inside the top 5 for him. So in on Rye. Akshay got a lot of steam in the outright markets last week, and he ended up finishing T11th for his second straight top.
Who are you talking about?
Akshay Bahia.
Nice. I mean, Uncle T flawlessly, like the name rolled off the tongue. I mean, it was very nice. Like Uncle T, it was really nice. I was going to interrupt you and just say how like I was impressed. I was with the name pronunciation because when it was Snyder and I, this had to be like last year. Chat had their way with us. I mean, I butchered the name, and then Snyder obviously butchered the name as well with our boy Akshay. So it's Akshay Bhatia, right?
Yep.
All right, what I think I said Bhatia or something. I
think it's Bhatia, but I think the H is silent. Bhatia.
Bhatia sounds right. Let's go with
For sure.
I may not be right.
Keep going.
I think he's another strong mid-range guy there. I'll be overweight on him. Eric Cole looks to be a solid lower owned guy too. I think he'll probably be maybe around 12 to 16% or something like that potentially. I think he's a solid guy to add to the pool this week. He's minus 145 over EVR too in the betting market. So definitely going to be back on my guy Eric Cole in the 7K range. Big Haas is back in the field. It's in Texas, so we can target Big Haas here. He was top 5 in 2022 here. Started strong last week, but then the putter went cold on him. Good Texas golfer. Needs a putter to heat up a little bit for him this week, but I'll have him in the pool again. My guy Mav is Mav's underpriced here too, I think, like Uncle T said. So definitely going to have Mav in the pool. He's been playing a lot better since coming back from injury. Denny's fine. EVR's fine, but I'd rather play Cole over EVR as he's a big favorite of him in the matchup markets. And one of my favorite options here in the 7K range is probably going to be Lucas Glover. T11 in his last start. It was T30 at the API, T35 at the Cognizant and Genesis. Strong ball striker. He does tend to struggle with the flat stick a little bit, but that's fine here. His putting has improved the last 3 events and gained just short of a full stroke at the Valspar. 3 top 20s, including a top 5 in 2021 here. And he's also a big favorite in the betting markets. He opened -120 against Hogard, and now he's listed as a -140 favorite. So really interested in Glover this week at 7-3. I think that's a great price tag. And then Victor Perez was another guy who played in that low 7K range last week. I'm going to go right back to him there. He's off that T17 last week. He was T3 at Puerto Rico as well, T16 at the Cognizant. Ranks first in approach over the last 36 rounds in this field. So I definitely have some conviction on Victor Perez at the bottom of this range. And then Sam Ryder's probably another guy I'll add to the pool as well.
Yeah, very good. I like this range quite a bit. Bo Hostler, I'm glad that you mentioned your boy. I'm going to be on him as well. I mean, like, if you take a step back and just look at it from a bigger picture, he's having a pretty good season. Now, I know, he struggled on the Florida swing. Not really his style of golf. T57 at the Houston Open. Not great, but his record here is good. 5 straight made cuts? A T4 in 2022. I think Hostler is a really strong play this week. I like Akshay as well. I think he bet like T17 and then backs it up with the T11 at the Houston Open. Man, his game is in really, really nice form. And then the same thing with Aaron Rai too. 3 guys that I have a ton of interest in. Keith Mitchell is another one that I'm going to consider as well. Just good ball striker, good history here. The putter's been horrendous, absolutely horrendous, but the guy's ball striking should keep him in play, I would think. And he seems like his price just seems a little bit too low. So Keith Mitchell, I have a little bit of interest in him. Andrew Putnam, I like him a little bit as well. 3 of his last 5 cuts, I think he's fine. I don't mind the Lucas Glover call. What I don't understand about Lucas Glover is, so he changes putter, and he's got the mallet putter. It looks like a Tesla truck is what I called it. But man, his putting has been like horrendous. It's back to being shitty again. So like I don't know what's up with him.
Event, though. It's slowly coming back up the last.
Slowly coming back in. All right. I'll play Lucas Glover. I mean, here's the thing too. Like the ball striking is still there. Putting is a highly volatile high variance stat. So he could definitely bring it. And when he does, we saw what happened when Lucas Glover had a hot putter. So I could definitely get on board with him.
Great course history here too.
Yeah. I'm a course history guy. He has 2 top 10s? No, he has a 4th place finish, T18, T14. So really good course history. And since 2019, hasn't missed the cut at this event too. And that includes years where he sucked, where he was terrible. So again, I can definitely get on board with him. The other guy that I like, Brendan Todd, I like a little bit. So his history here too, he was a T8 in 2022. He has multiple top 10s here. He's only missed the cut one time over his last 6 times playing this event. So I like Brendan Todd as well.
You'll get him low owned, AP. You'll get him low owned.
Yeah, I mean it's like a multi-entry, type of play. It's like a filler, if you're running, whatever you're running, but kind of to mix and match. Not a guy that you want to go completely overweight on, but one of those guys where if you get, anywhere from like 8 to 15%, I think you're sitting pretty good.
I just checked the matchup odds on him. He opened -120 versus Doug Gim, and he's all the way up to -140 over Doug Gim right now. Is Brendan Todd?
I mean, we're about to talk about Doug Gim too. I mean, this is a guy that everyone was jamming him in. He was like mega chalk. I always liked Doug Gim too in Texas, but it's like he's fallen off a cliff. And that's kind of what happens with some of these guys. I mean, it's golf. It's like when a guy gets hot, you kind of ride out the heater, and then when they cool off, you got to jump off. If you don't, it's going to be very painful for a lot of these guys. All these guys, not named Scotty Scheffler. So yeah, I think this is a nice range in just to kind of cement home my point of starting in the 9K range. If I live in that range, I live in, a few of those 8K guys that I talked about, and then live in this range, it's going to limit the amount of dusty 5K, 6K guys that I have to play. So I feel like that route feels pretty good for me this week. And that's going to a lot of my lineups are going to look like that. So let's keep it going though. There are some names that I do like in the 6K range. Some guys that could easily be in the 7K range. Snyder, I'm going to keep it with you. 6K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few guys I like down here to kind of fill in the pool there. if I'm going to try and play a lot of those guys up top in the same lineup even. KH Lee is a guy I'm going to look at this week. TBC Lee enters with solid form, 31st and 9th in his last 2 events, and is a guy I like to target on these TBC tracks. 6'8", fine price tag for him there. Finished T23 and T14 in 2 of his last 3 trips here, and he's favored -120 over Ryo in the matchup markets. Lee Hodges is another guy I like down here. Solid value, T26, 35th, and 12th in his last 3 events. And he finished T6 here last year. He opened up as a dog against Davis Thompson in the matchup markets and is now listed as a -120 favorite. So I like Hodges. Another guy, I've been playing this guy like the last 3-4 weeks, and nobody's really caught on to him. He's still going to be really low owned this week. I'm seeing his ownership like right around 5% or less than that. Can't even find him right now. There he is. Yeah, he's going to be like 2% owned, actually. Max Gracerman. I've been playing this guy for a couple of months now. His game looks to be peaking. T7, T33, T15 in his last 3 starts. He finished runner-up a couple times on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. His gained approach in all but 1 tour start this year for him as he gets onto the tour here. So definitely going to have Gracerman back in the pool once again this week. Ryan Moore is another guy down there. I think it's a great price tag for a guy who's playing some of the best golf he's played in quite a while. He's gained at least 4.7 strokes approach in his last 3 events and over 6 strokes tee to green. The putter has been kind of holding him back a little bit, but if he can kind of mitigate that, I think he can finish inside the top 30 again this week or something like that. T5 at the Valspar, and then he was 31st last week at the Houston as he lost over a stroke putting in both those events. Was 3rd here in 2019, 7th in 2018, 18th in 2017. So he has some form here, some course history here, but it's been a while. But I'm going to go back to some Ryan Moore. It doesn't look like he's going to be too popular either. I was kind of worrying about it because I heard his name on a few places around the industry, but I think he's going to be under 5% yet. So in on him. Matty Schmidt's another guy, remains way priced too cheap. I think he's 6'3" again, 4 straight solid outings, T21, 17th, 26th, and 10th, and is in a couple of tougher fields there too. He was T46 here last year and is playing much better golf right now. So in on Schmidt at 6'3", Vegas, Lashley are a couple more guys you could add in. And then my guy, Jake Bridgman, down there at the bottom of this range, T21, miscut at the Players, give him a break there, T23 and T28 his last 4 starts. So I think he's another guy you can sprinkle in there if you need.
Did you talk about Mr. Course History, elephant in the room? I'm kind of curious. Like, is he going to get any ownership at all? I mean, this dude's Matt Kuchar. Have you looked at his course history here? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been playing good. I don't know.
He's been playing bad. He's terrible.
No, he's played
like
good
4 innings.
though. Yeah,
it's
T17.
Like I'm a course history guy. Just I'll put it out there. And when I see a dude who the last 4 times he's played here, I mean, actually the last 4 times, T7, T12, T2, T3, I can't not have him in my pool. Like, I'm not saying like core play or anything like that, but like I'm not fading him. And I like Matt Kuchar sucks. He's terrible, but this is his track. The course history is absolutely ridiculous. So Snyder, real quick before I kick it to Uncle T, is he going to get any ownership at all? I mean, he can't, right? Outside the course history, guys. Yeah,
I don't think so. Where do I see him at here? Yeah, he'll be like 3% owned or something, I think.
And he'll probably miss the cut, which he probably should, but I can't. I mean, it's just my nature. I'm a guy who has that elite of course history. I'm going to play. It's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I mean, not even that. Like even like 7 to 10%. Like I don't want him to absolutely tilt me and ruin my game, which he could definitely do. I mean, just think it back. Like what was that? A couple weeks ago, I think he missed the cut too. He started out like chipped in for eagle, 3 or 4 birdies in a row. Everyone in chat is like, no Matt Kuchar, no cash. And then the guy goes on to miss the cut. I mean, he's terrible. He's absolute cheeks. But
he's missed 6 of 8 cuts this year.
Yeah, he's not good at all. But I will have him in my pool. Uncle T, 6K range. What are you doing here?
Yeah, Snyder and I were a little bit different above, but he hit on nearly every one of the guys I was hitting on. I was going to stop him, but he was on a roll, which is good. I like being on Snyder's guys down in this range. But you got three guys. You got Kuchar, you got Ryan Moore, and you can even throw in Charlie Hoffman, AP, right? You got three guys that are older guys that have been around. They got good course history. I think the reason I'll side with Ryan Moore like Snyder does, though, is he's coming in with a little bit of form with the course history. So that's why I agree with him on that. I can get on board there as opposed to the Charlie Hoffman and Matt Kuchar, course history kind of angle, if you will. But going back up the top again, I like KH Lee. I've got Hodges in my pool. One guy I don't think you mentioned, and we've played him quite a bit, or at least I have recently, and I'll hop back on. He's cooled down a little bit, but our guy Andrew Novak, again, only 6,500. So again, a good value play down here. Feels like he's a little bit too cheap. I like the Grazerman call quite a bit. I played him last week. I think Snyder, you might have put me on to him on the show last week. So I like him. Matty Schmidt is a guy I keep playing, so I've got him in there. JJ Spawn is a guy I don't think you mentioned. I have him in my pool here. And then going down towards the bottom, a couple guys I don't think you mentioned towards the bottom. Our boy Martin Laird. AP, I think you play him a little bit. He kind of interests me down here in the low 6K range. Kevin Yu and Chandler Phillips, a couple guys down here as well, 100 or 110 to 1 to win the golf tournament, all the way down there in the low 6Ks. So I don't mind either one of them guys as far as a filler piece, but I really want to end my lineups this week. I know last week I had several guys in the 5K range because I wanted the double spend up over the 9K and the 10K guys last week. I don't think I really need to do that this week, and I'm going to try to end my lineups in this 6K range if I can. And we'll talk about the 5K range here in a minute, but I really want to end my lineups here in this 6K range. There's 8 to 10 guys easily in here that we can fill our lineups with.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't want to. There's so many landmines down here. And like Doug Gim, starting up with him, this guy was playing some crazy good golf. I've always liked him a little bit in Texas. I think I can get back on. Adam Schenk, too. He's been playing really good golf as well. And I think these guys feel like, I'm not going to say, safe or anything like that, but, I wasn't Schenk chalk like not long ago. The course history is terrible. It's like the opposite of, what I was talking about. If you lump Doug Gim and Adam Schenk, together or over the last, 5 times they've been here, they've only made the cut once, like together. That was Doug Gim. He was T44 in 2021. But again, Adam Schenk, T7 here in 2019. And then if you look at his form, decent form coming in for a guy who's 6,900. So all the little Schenk, all the little Doug Gim. And I want to just limit, like all of these guys for me, like fillers. KH Lee, I checked a lot of these guys as you were talking, a filler. Ryan Moore. I don't play Ryan Moore often, but the guys have been striking the ball decently. He's always sucked at putting, but the ball striking's back. I'll have a little bit of him. Andrew Novak, I've been playing him all year. I like the what's your boy's name? Max Griersman?
Yeah, Grayson.
Grayson.
Yeah.
T7 last week. I know you talked about him last week. I was not on him though, Snyder. That was a great call. I actually like Bud Cauley. Bud Cauley's been playing some good golf, and he has some decent history here. So he's another filler. Hoffman, filler. JJ Spawn, winner here in 2022, filler. Nate Lashley, filler. Martin Laird, Party Marty, filler as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this range, keeping it nice and simple. I don't want to be overexposed to anyone down here. And I don't even know if I want multiple 6K guys into my lineups. And that's kind of like the luxury that you get by fading that top range and starting the 9K, upper 8K range, which is the path that I am likely on this week. So if I had to give a favorite in this range, I'm going to go Adam Schenk. I think Adam Schenk ranks highly in the model that I'm looking at. Good ball striker, 3 of the last 5 cuts. Not good history here, but I think he breaks it this week. And I believe he also was invited to the Masters. Should have been. Anyway, he should be teeing it up next week as well. Might be his first Masters. Honestly, Adam Schenk, like not a name that I can think of going back. I'm going to call. I don't think he's played in the Masters. I think it's his first time playing. So maybe he'll be thinking about next week, but who knows? I think he's been playing some pretty good golf. 5K range for me. I'm going to get it out of the way. Like I'm not clicking anyone down here unless one of you convince me and talk me into a few dusty 5K plays. Snyder, I'm going to start with you.
There's a few guys down here. Not too much that I see. I think Eric Barnes is interesting, though, down here. He's made 5 of 6 cuts, counting the withdrawal at the Valspar. Last week in Houston, he was T17. He was T2 at Puerto Rico a few weeks back. I think he makes some sense down here. Sam Stevens, the guy that was chalk like about a month or so ago, finished second here last year. He's made 3 of 4 cuts. I think he's interesting. And then Mac Messner at 5.3K is a punt option you could go to if you want. He did miss a cut last week, but he had a couple finishes of T26 or better in the 2 events before he emceed last week. Those are the 3 guys I may consider. But the way I'm building, I don't think I really need to go down here too much this week, as I think I could finish builds out in the bottom of the 6K range. But I'll probably have a couple of lineups where I load up like 4 studs or something and throw in Barnes or something in a low 6K guy to kind of like a large MME type tournament build or something like that.
Yeah, very good. Uncle T, what are you doing with the 5K range?
Yeah, definitely not much for me. Again, I'm going to try to end in those 6K ranges. If I find a build tomorrow when I put everything together that I'm going to go up there and need maybe one of these guys down here. Snyder mentioned a couple nice guys. David Skins, 5,900. He's been playing some good golf. He does have a couple top 10s in his last 5 starts. He did make the cut here in his only trip here. Maybe you can catch him again, a guy that's been playing pretty good golf, got a little bit of confidence, probably not very good, but he's got a little bit of confidence. Chad Ramey, 5,800. He played well last week, T17. You can do worse than Chad Ramey at 5.8K. And then 2 guys in the mid 5,600. Kevin Streelman and Zach Johnson. When I talked about it earlier in the show, if I'm going to grab a couple guys with some course history, I don't mind going all the way down if you needed to get that salary savings and jam in an extra big golfer up top. Streelman and Zach Johnson both have really good course history. Again, neither one of them playing really well at the time, or right now, but you could definitely put those guys in. And even like that Joe Highsmith, it's 5.8K. You could probably do worse than him there as well.
Yeah.
All right, very good. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you're not a member, you should be. RPS 15% off your first payment over here at Rumpier Sports. Now is such a good time to sign back up for anyone that was a former member. Absolutely crushing. I mean, we got Big T, our guy Big T in chat earlier, maybe still listening. I mean, on his 40th birthday, grinding out the NASCAR content. Yeah, no chance he's listening. I mean, maybe. Absolutely smashing NASCAR on Sunday. MLB has been on fire. Mangone with a seat. We got. I'm trying to think who all already has seats. Yeah, look, Big T's still listening. Let's go.
Just called me out.
Yeah, he did. He called us out.
He knows he can't get to the hot tub outside tonight because of the bad weather. Now it makes sense to me. He's listening.
Yeah, I mean, mine's calling my name. Not bad weather here, but we got the Masters coming up too, and the content's going to be absolutely dialed for the Masters. So RPS 15, make sure you get signed up over here at Rumpier Sports, and hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Let's get to our winners, and then we'll get out of here.
AP.
Oh, he's literally in the hot tub. Tornado and all. Not worried about it. I mean, it would take a big tornado.
If there's a way to go, it would be in the hot tub, right?
That is true. Uncle T, give me your winners. Who do you think is going to win? And then give us a longer shot for an outright bet.
Should I be nice and save Snyder's guy for him? I think
no. You can never be nice. You can steal his boy. You can steal his boy.
I think Gobert gets his first W. I really do. I think he's going to get it done this week. You said I could take anybody. I was going to.
His first W. He's got to win already.
Did he already? I like him even more then. I like it. Where did he win?
No, he's not winning.
I believe he won the RSM last fall.
Well, he's going to win the Valero this week, so I like him at 12-1. The odds aren't real good on him, but I do like him up top. Are we just going one value guy and then a long shot, or what do you want to do?
No, long shot. We always do it. We always give who we think is going to win, and then we give a longer shot. Something far more ideal for betting than 12-1 for Oberg.
I knew the answer to that. I was just buying myself some time. That's a veteran move on my part.
We can go to Snyder. I know.
I'm going to go down the board a little bit. I don't want you guys to get on me. 45-1. I'm going to go with Bezadenhout, and then I also like. I'm going to get a bonus shot. Andrew Novak at 110-1. I like him down the board.
My boy, Andrew Novak. I am very much on board with that. Snyder, who do you got winning this week? And then give the people a longer shot that you're going to put some money on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Corey Connors at 25-1. I think he wins this event back to back and for the third time in 5 years or something like that. And so I'm gonna go with Corey Connors at 25 is the best number I've seen. If you have access to like Pinnacle or something, not many people do, but I like looking at their odds because they're the sharpest odds in the market. I think he's 30 there, but down the board a little bit. I'm going to go with – I kind of want to go with my guy, Big Haas, but I'm going to go a little further down, I think. And I'm going to find at Akshay Bahia. I don't even know if I said that. Go with Akshay.
How are we getting worse? We just went over this.
Bahia.
Bahia.
Akshay, 65-1 is going to get –
I can't even remember how to say his name now. Akshay Bhatia. Right?
Isn't there? How hard is it?
Oh, okay. Akshay and who's your first guy?
Corey Connors, 25.
Corey Connors. Corey Connors. I was the other reason I was laughing is I was coming down here. I'm like looking at all these names, like Andrew Novak, plus 100, Bud Cauley, 90-1, Austin Eckroat, 90-1, and I'm like looking through here. I'm like, did our boy Ricky Fowler, did he withdraw? He's not on the list. He's 110-1. That's hilarious. There's no way if you play him in DFS, oh my gosh, I could not even imagine it. So
I wouldn't play him at 7K.
Yeah, he's just broken again. You got to move off. He's obviously going to be thinking about the Masters too. Colin Morikawa, 25-1. He's broken also. Benyon, 30-1. Benyon, I love this track for him. He's going to win. He's going to absolutely own Oberg. He's going to absolutely own Jordan Spieth. Where's Jordan Spieth's odds at? Oh, he's 20-1. All right. Benyon, my guy, 30-1. I'm even fine betting it too. We might be able to find better odds than that. Snyder, do you have better odds than 30-1?
On who?
Benyon.
Oh, Benyon. 35-1. 35-1 at FanDuel and 40-1 at Bet365. A lot of people have access to Bet365 nowadays. They have some really good odds on stuff.
The other guy, I'm just going out on a limb with this one. He had a month stretch where he looked so good. It was a T20 week in and week out. I've always liked playing him in Texas. Even though over the last couple of weeks the form hasn't looked as good, everyone's going to be hopping off. But Doug Gim, 80-1, is another one that just I think is a fine bet. Obviously, a longer shot, but Doug Gim in Texas. Not many people are going to be playing him. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of money on my boy Doug Gim. So that is it tonight. Snyder, any final thoughts?
No, I'll have the playbook up here momentarily. We'll have the playbook up. The cash chart will be up tonight as well. Showdown will be up all 4 days, and then as we kind of get ready for some Masters. But this week we got plenty of content, plenty of money to win. And get in some of those satellites to get some tickets for next week. There's some really good contests next week.
Yeah, really good point. There's some massive contests. Get the tickets. Don't be a donkey like me and waiting the day or two before looking for satellites to get into those big boy contests. Uncle T, final thoughts.
Yeah, going to be a fun week. We've got, sweating baseball every day like we always do. We got the NCAA Final Four on Saturday, and then obviously next week it's going to be fun. I'm not sure. Are we going to do the same show? Or are we going to do like a multi-show with a lot of people, AP? I'm not sure. Somebody actually asked me that in DM earlier. I wasn't sure. Are we going to try to do a combined show at some point where we get 4 or 5 of us, or is it just going to be the same show? I wasn't sure.
For the Masters?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think for the British Open or the Open Championship, we always do that. We'll go late. I get yelled at by my wife each time because we're always yelling. My voice carries. I'm loud. So yeah, no, we'll do that. But no, it's going to be us next week unless someone else wants to hop on. If anyone wants to hop on, they definitely can. Unless you're like a psycho or something like that, then you can't. But no, we'll be primed and ready for the Masters. Same time next week. It will be Snyder, Uncle T. But for that, I'm AP. For Snyder, for Uncle T, let's have a good week. Let's get ready for the Masters. And as always, let's run Pierre.